Start with the session, I would first like to introduce you to us. Uh, we are the NSE Academy, are the part of National Stock Exchange. And to brief you about NSE, NSE started its operations in year 1994 with the wholesale debt market. And NSE is one of the leading stock exchange in India and the largest derivative exchange in the world by volume of trade, according to World Federation Exchange Report. We are driven by the ambition that makes India charge ahead and take more prominent place on the global stage. We are powered by a million of dreams, hopes, and aspirations. India today is brimming with potential. We aim to catalyze India's growth story by creating investment opportunity, enabling access, and empowering our stakeholders. We are proudly initial fintech company of India, and till then we are the leading stock exchange in the market. Along with that, NEC started its education wing in year 1998 with certain certification program to empower the financial education into financial market. And today we stand within 100% owned subsidiary called NSC Academy. NSC Academy is an 100% owned subsidiary or only owned subsidiary of National Stock Exchange, which is one of the premium certification organization in BFSI and capital market. NAL work with schools, universities, working professional and organization in developing financial skills through our programs in various aspects of banking, financial service, financial market, and financial literacy. We talk about some figures. Till date, we have certified more than 7 million students. We have touched down more than 3.2 million students. We are working with more than 3,500 plus colleges, higher education institutions. We work with 6 state boards, including Tamil Nadu, Goa, Himachal, Nagaland, Gujarat, Punjab. We are also working with CBSE at school level. We have around 350 plus labs pan India. In our digital initiatives, we have 3 groundbreaking initiatives with us, or the digital products with us. One is NSC Knowledge Hub, which is an AI-enabled learning experience platform. Then second product which we have in digital initiatives, NSC Smart, which is a trading simulator lab. We have been working into the BFSI functional and domain since very long, and we have been proudly recognized by different institutions, and we have been certified by LPI. Today, this session is being organized in association with Ramayana Institute of Management, Bangalore. Ramayana Institute does not need any introduction in today's world. However, to give you a very brief detail about them, Ramayana Institute of Management is one of the most preferred business school in Bangalore. It's being located in the heart of the city. The institute is acclaimed as one of the best business school, providing the quality management education through its PGDM programs. It has been consistently ranked as among the best 100 business schools in India by several ranking partners. The program is MBA accredited and approved by AIU as MBA equivalent. The curriculum is industry oriented and designed by both academician and industry experts, coupled with the new age technology pedagogy and assessments. The aim is to offer the nation with vision driven leaders who can globally competent to meet the challenges of the future world. As I initially told you, our today's objective meeting is to explore the possibilities or the opportunities of financial analysts. We have 2 prominent speakers from the industry with us. I'd like to introduce you to the speakers. First, the first speaker will be Mr. Professor Rajiv Samuel Rowling. Rajiv sir comes with an experience of more than 21 years of teaching and industry experience. He teaches securities market portfolio management and derivatives. He has been conferred with the accredited management teacher by AIMA. He holds a PhD from Bardiyar University. He holds an MBA from Cardiff Metropolitan University and BTech from NIT Trichy. He has published 16 research papers, authored 6 books. He has been conducting programs on financial market and econometrics over the last 2 years. Prior to joining Ramayana Institute of Management, he has worked in the asset management space both in India and US. A second expert for the day is Professor Sanjay Cherry. Sanjay sir comes with an experience of more than 32 years of teaching and industry experience. He teaches corporate strategy, financial environment of business, derivative management, and he has completed his PMP from PMI Institute. He holds a BSc MBA degree. He has been conducting programs on derivative management over the last 2 years. Prior to joining Ramayana Institute of Management, he has worked in asset management space, both in India and US. We welcome you both, sir. We hope that your presence in today's session will be really helpful to all. So to initiate with the discussion about financial analytics, I'd just like to introduce something. Financial analytics is one of the very interesting or one of the most valued skills of the 21st century, as we all are aware with the changing demographic environment of the working environment. There is very competitive market to analyze the things very well. It has become very critical and very important to analyze things in an apt manner, because there is so high competition, so much of competition being coming into a global economy. It becomes very competitive situations, and it becomes very niche market. Hence, the analysis of everything and every aspects of the business is really important. So one of the critical aspects is about the investments, where business invest their funds or park their funds to generate wealth. So financial analytics plays a very important role into that. And I hope I understand by the fact that financial analytics is the future, and it is the future for sure for the coming generations. To start with the discussion, I would request Dr. Raji to please take up the stage, sir, and please have a discussion with us on the role of the financial technology in capital market and banking sector, how these two things are impacting capital market and banking sector, sir. So
sure, sir.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. We, of course, have planning to launch our financial analytics program, and our most logical partner would be NSE, of course, because NSE has so many years of experience as the premier stock market exchange in India. So we are going to just go through some situations where financial analytics is practically applied, both in capital markets, banking, and in the regulatory segment. And I'm going to take you through some specific examples where financial analytics comes in very handy. So where in capital markets can we apply financial analytics? Financial analytics is very useful in portfolio management and asset allocation decisions. So you have so many investment classes, right? Today you can choose from stocks, bonds, gold, even cryptocurrency is emerging as an alternate asset class. So where are we going to park our money? Two, how are we going to park our money? What kind of analysis can we do? Can we look at some kind of valuation metrics, which means that how can I understand what investments are cheap and what investments are expensive, so I can avoid the expensive ones and invest in good value-based investments, right? So valuations methodology. Then we were also going to look at central bank policy action. So how can financial analytics help in deciphering central bank action and timing our investments accordingly? And then we are also going to look at trading. People are constantly buying and selling. There's so much emphasis on making short-term profits as well. So how does financial analytics play a role there? So as you probably know, in the last few days, the markets have been coming down. And if you look, these are three valuation measures that are out there. So PE stands for price to earnings ratio. PB stands for price to book ratio, and then you have something called the dividend yield. So every time, what is PE as an indicator, and why is it relevant? Many top investors look at PE ratios, like Warren Buffett and so many great investors. So what does PE tell you? A price to earnings ratio is simply the price the market is willing to pay for every rupee earned by the company. So, and you can have price to earnings ratio not only for companies, but you can have it for the market index like the Nifty too. So if you look at the recent price to earnings ratios, they've crossed around 30 and they have been slightly coming down, but they're still above 22, 23 level. And if you look at the price to book ratio, it has crossed the 4 mark. And this typically signals a little bit of overvaluation in the market, right? So what will our financial models do now? So our financial models would typically look at allocating money out of risky assets to probably risk-free assets, from probably stocks to bonds. So probably a bit of a sell-off that you have seen is not all that out of ordinary, because the markets seem to be a little expensive. How expensive are they and how cheap are they? I'm forwarding on to the next situation. This is the scenario that developed in the 2008 recession when we had a financial crisis. Look at this. Back in December 2007, the Nifty was nearly 6,100 and then it crashed 60% for the rest of the year. This was during the recession of 2008. So could you have seen that coming? Could your financial models have told you to get out of stocks in December and get out of risky assets and move to safety assets like bonds in December? Of course, they could have. If you look at the valuation measures, they were more stretched than what I just showed you on a PE basis. Okay. And then all the way you come down to October, markets have crashed 60%. Now, our financial models good enough to show us that. So if you look all the way back, and if you look in October 2008, right around October end, you had the PE ratio down to almost single digits, almost 11. So that was a time where money was supposed to, your financial modeling would tell you, get out of risk-free assets and go right back into the market. And if you did that, in a period of 2 years, the market tripled from those levels, doubled from those levels, right? So this is the power of financial analytics, where you're using numbers to guide your investing decisions. Yes. Now, what about today? Fast forward to today. How about central bank policy action? Today, the US Fed in a recent announcement said they're going to hike rates 3 times in 2022, whereas our RBI is still buying bonds and keeping interest rates at record lows. So what does this mean? We could have capital allocation out of India into the US. Money could move out of the US. Probably that's why the stock market is weak. Again, financial analytics can be used to kind of detect these and act, right? FIIs are already rapidly selling in the market for the past few days. So this kind of divergent monetary policy could present opportunities. What if you're a sovereign wealth fund? You're investing a lot of capital. Where are you going to put it? You're going to put it where the money flows into, right? So these are the things that are very, very useful. What about trading as a tool, right? Some investors are very focused on the short term. Yes. So you can see how a technical perspective of the Nifty looks like. On the leftmost side, you see a big plunge in the Nifty. Those red, green, blue lines are just moving averages. When the green line is violated and the blue line is violated, we often have a trip to the red line. So can we act on that, right? So what if we can write a computer program and say, sell when the blue line is crossed and buy when the red line is crossed from the downside. So you can see after the pandemic, the market started recovering, and once the market prices crossed the blue line, there was a non-stop move up. So financial analytics has the power to do that for you, right? And today, increasingly, the exchanges, institutional flows are dominated by algorithms. Okay, algorithms are programs that buy and sell at predetermined levels in the market. So this is another powerful innovation of financial analytics. My colleague Sanjay Chari sir will in detail talk about algorithmic trading in a bit, but I will also talk about a few applications in the banking segment before that. Okay, so how can we use financial analytics in our banking system? One is fraud detection. Yes, we are all aware of the recent scam in the PNB. And what happened was very simple. Okay, the core banking system got bypassed. So can we write programs, or can we have an alert setup that goes off if such violations happen, if transactions are happening, but they're bypassing the core banking system. Or even better, if the SWIFT mechanisms and the core banking system are not interlinked. If something has happened suddenly and a dysfunction happens, can we get an alert? Yes. Also, simple thing is KYC violations, right? Today, the regulators are very, very strict with KYC norms. What about that? Can we use financial analytics to detect violations? Sure, we can. Right? Then banking as a whole, today India's banking system, while it has emerged strong, in the last few years, the non-performing assets in the Indian banking system have reduced, but they're still quite high, right? Today they are at 4.5 trillion, almost up, tenfold from where they were some 10, 11 years ago. So how can we use financial analytics to solve the banking system's problems? You monitor loan books, look for problem loans, right? Banks can proactively classify and provision for bad loans. What else can they do? The RBI as the regulator, wants banks to be proactive, not reactive. So once we identify something as a problem loan, can we quickly speed up the recovery process by selling bad loans to asset recovering companies and thereby clean up our balance sheet? So again, power of financial analytics right there. Banks can run numbers and see who are the willful defaulters, what are the default probabilities of my loan book, and so on and so forth. Right? Then stepping on to regulation as a whole, financial regulations today are pretty strict. RBI has implemented Basel III for the Indian banking segment. So RBI is constantly monitoring banks. So there are some smaller banks which have had serious capital adequacy violations. They suffered from capital adequacy issues. So how can the regulator detect this? Again, financial analytics can tell you how the banks are lending, what are the standards they are adopting. So how is the regulator going to use this information? They can stress test the banks. They can possibly stress test and see what happens if a recessionary scenario unfolds. Will the bank still be in business? And so on and so forth. Again, the power of financial analytics for you. I will now hand over the session to my colleague, Professor Sanjay Chari, who can just dwell a little bit on algorithmic trading.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, so as Dr. Rajveer said about trading, and we are talking about algorithmic trading, which is again an integral component of financial analytics, right? He referred to the fact that computer programs are something which run the trade, and that's what we are trying to say. What are ultimately algorithms? And so algorithms or algos are just software programs which actually run the data for a trading strategy. And they backtest the strategy, and I'll come to that term very soon, to check what happens historically. And essentially it generates a buy or a sell signal. So instead of human intervention, what these computer software programs do the job for you. And this is where I'd like to tell you about, there are two types of, for people who are slightly oriented to trading, there are two types of basic trading. One is known as the discretionary trading system, where it's left to the trader. He or she actually at that given point in time, depends on how the market moves or depending on what the market information is, makes a decision as to whether I should buy or sell, what is the kind of position I take, and so on and so forth. And whereas that's known as the discretionary style of trading. In systematic style of trading, I have a trading plan where I already have, let's say, some 13-day moving average, like Dr. Rajveer said earlier in a graph. If another technical indicator, for example, relative strength index moves over 30, then I buy it, which is already systematically mentioned in the trading plan. So here in the algorithmic trading, what I do is go to where it is already programmed that if my stock goes above the 13-day moving average, I would sell. But all this is not done by me. It is done by the computer program. So I don't have to go through the various charts to figure out what is the 5-minute time frame, what is the 3-minute time frame, what is the early time frame, to see where the 13-day moving average is. I can also backtest it, which means assuming that I form this strategy, let's say for 2021 December, I can run the data from say 2008, 2006 to see whether my hypothesis is true or not, make sure that it runs for it and then do that, right? So that's the advantage of algorithmic trading. So this graph basically sees what are the, in the moving average, how do we do that? So what are the benefits of algorithmic trading? One is that the trades are timed correctly and it avoids significant price changes. Secondly, it reduces the risk of manual errors. Many a times it has happened to me, forget about other traders, that if I want to type, if I'm dealing in options and I want to type 16,000 put option sell for this particular weekly expiry, by mistake, I put C and then, instead of sell, I buy it or I do the reverse trade. Now in algorithm trading, you already put down that thing very clearly, you double check it and therefore it reduces the risk of manual trades amazingly. We also avoid significant price changes, and as it is, we already have our stop loss or the profit target very clearly defined. So that's another advantage. And thirdly, the major advantage, which is, and you must have heard that in trading, psychology, strategy is 20%, but psychology is about 80 to 90%. And that's what it takes care of. I don't get emotionally involved. I don't get psychologically impacted by trading. Algos reduce that possibly drastically because your programs are already there. Your alerts are there. At the most, you might have minimal of human intervention. So that's the major advantage of algo. Having said that, of course, we have to respect our regulations. Dr. Norton also spoke about regulation in the asset allocation and the banking sector. Of late, SEBI has also looking at a consultative paper where they are saying that all the orders emanating from a application programming interface, an API is basically something which acts as an interface between two different applications. That will be, treated as an algo order. It will be subject to control. Each and every unique algorithmic algorithm will be provided and different identification number. You need to get approval on it, and every stockbroker needs to take an approval for this. And CISA folks are also involved in terms of certification. So that's something which we have to look for. And so SEBI is already working on it. Of course, the traders feel that it is kind of a restrictive measure that SEBI is thinking about because in most of across the globe, 70% of the trading is done on algos. In India, it's only about 15 to 20%. We were looking at a higher growth rate, but let us look at this regulation to see. And now SEBI is obviously looking at unique algorithmic IDs, and they also want all the IDs developed by, for example, a broker or an entity to run on a server where the broker has which server which should be in the ecosystem of the broker so that they can have control over the margin and the confirmation. And obviously the two-factor authentication, which I think most of you must have noticed if you are doing even trading at a minimal level, even apart from after logging the password, you also have a two-factor authentication built so that nobody can take care of that. So algorithmic trading is an integral part of financial analytics. You can have several languages, but there are a lot of algo platforms are also available where there is minimal of coding is required. So it depends on your interest as to how much you can do. But this has an extremely bright future in the entire universe of financial analytics. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you. We have just walked you through some applications of financial analytics. I mean, there are so many more. There are applications to sales, profit maximization, ROE strategies, right? Shareholder wealth maximization. So many things involve financial analytics these days. So we have just walked you through a very limited scope in the time we've been given, but we could take questions on anything we have discussed.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much for beautifully explaining how financial analytics and financial technology is really important and the need of the hour of the current generation. Yes, it was very insightful to bring you the example from 2008 crash, or it being the post-pandemic movements into the market, or it being talking about the NPA into the banking industry and the regulations into the banking sector, or with the capital market, how algorithmic trading is evolving in India and in international scenario. So, participants, I would request you to please, if you have any questions, you can post up in the chat option. Will take up it with our esteemed guest and they'll be happy to answer you. Before that, sir, I have very few questions from a layman understanding, sir. I have two questions from a layman understanding.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Can financial analytics be understand, or it will be useful for a non-finance business? And my second question will be, do I need to have any specific qualification to learn about financial analytics?
Okay, so I'll take the first question first. So for somebody layman who's not thinking about analytics, at the end of the day, a lot of things work on numbers, whether you like it or not, right? So somebody with no training or anything in finance will ultimately still, let's say that you can obviously argue that there are so many people who do a lot of businesses. What about these small guys who are doing business every day? At the end of the day, it's a numbers game. So whether you like it or not, it indirectly comes down to, okay, am I making this much profit in this much time? How can I speed that up, right? And can I, at some point of time, look at how my past numbers were? If I do something different, can I project these numbers? So ultimately, I think some kind of financial analytics comes everywhere. So, and if you, I think your second question was, does a program like financial analytics helps? Is that right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the answer to that question is that it obviously does, because it gives you a grasp over numbers, right? Normally, you have an idea of the numbers, but to have a grasp of the numbers and applying it to your everyday business or your strategy requires some kind of financial analytics. And I think that's where the difference maker is. So financial analytics programs can prove to be a big difference maker if you can successfully translate numbers into money. At the end of the day, we are looking at that.
Yeah, and to add to that, sir, and after doing the course, it also depends on the person's area of interest. Some of them can obviously, explore Python. Of course, you can do algo trading without Python also, because there are many softwares available which you can do a little bit of Pine script coding and you can run the algos. There are some people who would like to be a rating analyst or financial analyst. So sub jobs are also there, plenty. You can become a quant trader in case that's another area. So definitely after a while, it will depend on the person's interest and inclination, which can they discover based on their background or during the course to figure out what suits them.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And I am very, very happy that many participants has been asking about a formal education into the financial analytics. With this, I'll bring up to you the program, postgraduate program in financial analytics, which is being jointly offered by NSC Academy and Ramayana Institute of Management, where both the institutions are bringing in their own expertise of the programs. If you can please on the slide, yeah. So this thing came into our mind, and we realized the need of the hour of such kind of programs, and to develop such kind of programs take a lot of time. So the basic objective or the overview of the basic purpose of this program is to create a, a generation who's financially literate, who has an approach towards the financial analytics and a proper. They have to move from the perspective of just assumptions into the market. They have to move into a research, a proper system of the learning about the financial market. So with this, we have evolved this particular program, and I'll take you through few of the key highlights. You can see it on your screens. One is the comprehensive curriculum has been developed with the deep analytical skills, and yeah, there have been certain certifications both by NSE Academy and RII. There will be industry relevant case studies. There will be certifications. There will be experienced faculties from both the industry and academia, and yes, there will be an recruitment exposure through NSE Fin Talent Portal and through Ramayana Institute of Management. Now coming to the second important part, who can enroll for this particular program? This program is open for, yes, since it is a postgraduate program, you need to have a minimum graduation with you. Duration for the program is 11 months. It's open for both working professionals. A fresher can also join this particular program. Right, the program fee is 2 lakh inclusive of GST. I'll run you through a very brief course outline or the course content, course curriculum, some of the topics which are being covered into this. One is capital market operations, be it economics, banking, fixed income, mutual funds, application of the software, which some students are already asking, some people are already asking what software you're covering. So few of the software, I'll just name it for you people. Applications like R and Python will be covered. We'll be talking about derivatives, we'll be studying about financial technology, we'll be studying about data analysis in finance, we'll be talking about financial modeling, ratio analysis, we'll be talking about credit risk and modeling, we'll be talking about blockchain and cryptos, we'll be talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning in financial market, using of machine learning to forecast stock prices, and regulatory framework, obviously, which is one of the backbone for any particular industry. Regulatory framework, we will take you through that. So this particular program duration, yes, it is 11-month duration. Our coming batch is going to start in January 2022. I'll request my team to please show the details of our team members who will be there for the assistance coordinators. You can, everyone, please, you can note down these contact details. Shortly send you brochures of our program with whom you can have an interaction to learn more about this particular program. Samuel, yes, coding, it's not very tough codings which will be covered up in this particular course. So very basic things which is understandable for any student from any particular stream. Sir, yeah. So expertise will be there both from NSE Academy and from the academic side from Ramayana Institute, which might be more than 20 years of experts into the industry. So this is Madan, yes, EMI options will be available. Okay. Any questions you would like to ask us? You can please post it in the chat option. Okay, one question which came up was about the scope. So as sir already told, and he was laying down some foundations of the programs or the profiles. I just noted down whatever the things were there. Yes, EMI option is also available. About the career opportunities, you can look for the career opportunity into any of the financial industry which may contain the profiles like portfolio manager, fund manager, rating analyst, risk manager, and yes, I'm 100% sure there are many entrepreneurship opportunities also available at your disposal. So this particular sector of finance is growing, has been tremendously growing in India, and at a global level also. You people have already witness of this, and expectedly this financial sector or financial analyst sector is expected to grow by 16% higher than any other occupation. Yeah, so talking about the package ranges for a fresher, your package basically might start from 4.5 lakh, and if you may, with the growth in your career, you might see 4.0 lakh per month in your hand. So yeah, 4.5 lakh as in fresher for the year. Then if you are experienced, once you will gain the experience, fortunate enough and good things at your disposal, then you might be earning this much in just 1 month. So this is how things have been. Syllabus, Nagaraj sir will be mailing it to you. So I would request, you have received the invitation from our side for this particular program. All those who are interested would request you to please revert back on that particular email, and you'll receive the brochures from our side for the program, the details. So okay, yes, Satyanarayan, sir, it will be helpful you in improving your trading strategy. So Rajvi sir, would you like to answer few questions, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one question which is coming up, sir, how can I really leverage financial analytics as a very early stage entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a very good point. See, when you are an early stage entrepreneur, one of the most important things for you is to scale up, right? So you set up your business and it's taken off well in one area. Now you want to scale up, right? So what do you need for scaling up, right? You need to raise funds, right? So how do you negotiate with VCs? What are VCs looking at? What kind of metrics that your business needs to have to attract venture capital interest, right? So these are things that you can kind of understand, right? By looking at financial analytics. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the VCs are looking at how much scale you have, and they are basically looking to get 5 or 10 times their money from your investment, right? So, and at some point of time, in the event you are thinking of becoming a successful entrepreneur, these things come along the way. So that's definitely a key element. So financial analytics, very, very important, I think, for early stage entrepreneurs. Today, there are many other sources of fundraising. Companies are raising money through tokens. Okay. So today, crypto tokens are taking over. You know, musicians are approaching the crypto market to issue tokens for their work, and they are fundraising that way. They are avoiding traditional measures. So a lot of analytics has gone into this, right? So yes, very, very relevant to entrepreneurs.
Yeah, to add to that question, what Dr. Rajveer said, financial today, if you see, fintech is one of the 50 to 60% of the startups in India, as well as the Asia Pacific region, are fintechs. And when we talk about financial analytics, one of the key areas where financial analytics is used is KYC, or know your customer. So if you're a retail bank or institutional investment bank, the typical KYC process, I used to work in an investment bank where legal as well as the background verification used to take about 15 to 18 days. Now this can be shortened to a very great extent by using financial analytics. And that is the key part. Even for retail banking, the minute the customer walks, you can immediately within 4 hours produce a KYC, which is KYC process is a very integral part of the entire investment banking process to determine whether we can, offer loans to them, offer trading opportunities to them, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of areas where financial analytics have come up.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. It's a very wonderful explanation. So a few basic points I'd like to introduce you to about the program again. That it will be a weekend online program, right? It will be a completion program, right? At the end of the program, you have to give the examination and get your completion certificate. And every week there will be only 6-hour classes. So we will not be pushing up a lot of things in just 1 week with you. That's why we have spread it longer duration, and we'll be covering a lot of content. So some people are asking about the course content. We'll be sending you out the details of the programs. It will be having the course content, course outline with you. So that will give you a better explanation. We are covering almost all the relevant topic, all the important aspects of the financial, which are required for as a financial analyst. Aarti, if you don't have any exposure to Python or R, you really don't need any preparatory course. We'll be covering up it from the very basics. About the discount, Samuel, or you can have a word with our team. If it is something is available, they'll definitely let you know, sir. So I'll suggest if you can just note down the details which are available on our screen right now. We have 4 contact points for you people. You can reach out to either NSC Academy or Ramayana Institute of Management. These our colleagues will help you out with all the details of the program, and we'll be there with the journey throughout the journey with you. Okay, so I'll take up this last question, and this sounds very interesting. Is there any relation between data science and financial analytics?
Yes, very much so. Today, with big data and all of that, definitely there is, I would say financial analytics is definitely part of data science, right? Only thing is we are applying it, the data science in a financial context. So very much so, I think they are integrated. And the more data you have and the more analytics you do, the better your end results are usually.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. So I have just shared an email ID of our colleague. You can please send her an email. She will share the brochures with you, brochure or the detail of the program with you. Hope we are making some sense for you, and we are definitely going to be part of your journey in future. And yes, with the whatever the situation in Indian economy is going through, it sees a very good prospects in future in financial sector with the introduction of Gift City and other major financial institutions coming up to India. Opportunity as for employment opportunities for financial analysts or into the financial profiles, different profiles available into the industry is very high. So you can take it up as a career perspective, not just from the employment perspective, also from the entrepreneur perspective. So Radhakrishnan, we will be mailing you the program details. It will be having all the course content, course coverage, whatever course coverage is there. Yeah, we'll be dividing it into 3 terms, right? So it's not that all subjects will be done into one go. 11 months will be divided into 3 terms, 4, and I suppose, yeah, 4 subjects will be taken up. 4, and 5 subjects will be taken up into each the trimester for you. So we'll be covering up the whole program in 11 months in weekend and online mode. So anyone else have any other query? So I have just received an update. Say all the participants who are present here in today's session, you people will be given some scholarship for taking the admission into this particular course, which is postgraduate program in financial analytics being offered by NSC Academy and Ramayana Institute of Management. So congratulations to each one of you for that. I'll request you to please get in touch with our team, which we have shared the contact details. They'll be reaching out to you shortly, and you can inform them that you have participated. We have your records, and we'll be offering you. Yeah, here are the details. You can again note it down. Yeah, but please make sure that you reach us before 26th of December. We'll be offering you scholarship only before 26th of December. After that, whatever the fees is, it will be common for all. So anyone else has any other query? You can please share in the chat option. Our experts will be there, happy to help you. See you.
That's a great question there, one that is very close to my heart. How can financial analytics predict or protect against black swan events? Right? Black swan events are very few and far between. And financial analytics can sometimes tell you if markets are headed for a crash, right? Not all the time, but a series of events, right? So you may be seeing extreme overvaluation in the market. You may seeing central bank policy hawkish globally. So suddenly you could be in a situation where not one thing, but many things are occurring at the same time, behind the scenes, right? Even before COVID, the markets were looking jittery actually. COVID was just the reason for the market to fall, okay? But yes, I mean, there are some key metrics, valuation measures, technical indicators, economic indicators. If you put all together in a nice little program and create a financial model, hey, who's stopping you from, taking a loss, right? Or who's going to help you? It's at the end of the day, it's your decision making, right? So yeah, financial analytics can help you fine tune and augment your decision making by giving you some very, very crucial information on the market.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful thought. So Athika has a question: why one should study financial analytics? I'd like to answer this. So with the change in economic conditions, or the whatever you say, economic condition, the world scenario, I suppose traditional subjects to be studied are going very outdated now, are becoming very easy and very outdated now. So the need of the hour is to be more precise, more competitive, more strategy oriented. That's why program or that's why topics like financial analytics or financial technology becomes very, very important. And trust me on that. As soon you join the program, you'll realize that yes, you have done a very wise decision. It's not just we are talking for today. You think from the perspective after 10 year, 20 year, 30 year. Things will be very precise with the increase in the artificial intelligence, with the increase in machine learnings and everything. Analytics or analysis in every aspect is going very high. Hence, financial analysis becomes more critical aspects for any organization, and organization would need more and more resources to handle those things, who have very precise grasp on these subjects. So it creates very good career opportunities for you people to come up into the industry. Lokesh, could you please explain the role of financial analytics in mutual fund industry? Sunil sir, would you like to answer this?
Shall I answer that?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir, if you're there, please.
Yeah. So, so the mutual fund industry has thrived and prospered quite a bit, but only a fraction of our population is investing in mutual funds, or in fact in the stock market as well. So mutual funds works on the principle of risk-adjusted returns. Okay, people who do not know anything about the market go for mutual funds because it gives you diversification benefit. Mutual funds typically invest in 20, 30, or even 40 to 50 stocks to basically provide you the diversification benefit, right? So again, so can we look at risk-adjusted measures? So there are some measures like Sharpe, Trainer, Jensen, which are indicative of how the fund manager is doing. So return is not the only thing. Risk also matters. So is my fund manager taking too much risk to get the returns he's giving, right? So how do I look at that? So that is where your financial analytics comes in. So how is my fund manager doing? Yeah, does he deserve a bonus really? I mean, today, somebody may say, I've made 20% returns for you. Do I deserve a bonus? Obviously not. The market has given you 25%, right? So this is the type of analytics you want to look at in the mutual fund industry and see if risk-adjusted returns are delivered.
And typically, as a financial analyst, to add what Dr. Rajveer is saying, to aid your job primarily would be to aid the head mutual fund manager. You could possibly specialize in analysis of FMCG industry, real estate industry, 2-3 industries, or a basket of industries, and help looking at the future long term of the industry, pharma industry. You can become a pharma industry analyst and so on and so forth. But overall idea would be to have a team of analysts which will support the fund manager who manages, as huge as 40,000. For example, one of HDFC's funds are as big as 40,000 crores, right? So even if you manage 10,000 crores or do analysis for that, that's a big ask for.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. I hope this is good enough content for first day and to introduce you to the program. Our team will shortly reach you with the details of the program, where we'll be having a complete coverage of the program and durations and everything will be shared with you shortly. And thank you so much for attending this particular session. We'll be happy to assist you at any point of time, With this, thank you so much, Rajveer sir. Thank you so much, Sunil sir, for being there. And thank you so much, our backend team, Krishna, for being such and support. Thank you so much and good night to all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for the participants' time too.